There's not anybody. You want me to go down?
Oh, listen,
Well,
my clock says 8:30 on tonight. So I got that.
Back looking at myself.
Huh? On that profit hunter.
They're benefit. We can't make a profit, so any money that we get out of the capital has to go back into that. Okay, let's go ahead and call this meeting in order. We stand for the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge
Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, look for a motion to approve today's agenda.
So moved.
1 second. Any discussions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I look for a motion to approve the minutes for July 27th.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
All set.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We got claims for August 5th in the amount of $742,854.77.
I'll make a motion to approve claim. I'll second it, but I do have a question.
Sure, go ahead. We're in discussion.
So, on that office allowance for the county attorney, have you discussed with him about, since we're only using one office now?
I have not, but we can. Let's send some sort of an email and talk to them about it. Since we're housing the assistant.
Yeah, in my opinion, it should go down since we're not housing two people over there, but
Sounds logical to me. I'll send Adam an email when we get done with the meeting.
okay.
Okay? Anything else?
No, everything else looks fine.
There's a big one on, if you noticed, 274,000-ish in new construction. I talked to Susan, dump truck, box for the truck. There's a lot of big heavy equipment on that particular line item, so that drove it up just a little bit.
Yeah.
Morning, Jacob.
Good morning.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Meetings attended, Scott?
No, I didn't have many meetings last week. I did get a phone call from that Hampton repair and they forwarded me an estimate. So Rife is still, I figured I'd have one from them, but so I'm kind of waiting on them, and then we'll have three, and then I guess we can kind of make our decision from that.
Well, as soon as she gets back with me mid to late August, we're just going ahead and get your tank painted,
Yeah.
get that part done. And it would be nice to have the valves done before we go, and I'll go out and check the level of propane this week. And I'll report in on that.
It was, I mean, it ain't been going down much, because I think it was about 50% there a month or two, and it's just under when I was out there a week or so.
We always go to the elevator though and buy ahead this time of year.
Yeah.
And hit contract, so not overly familiar with that process because the other supervisors handled that years past and I never really got in on it. I just kind of listened from afar, so.
I know one thing, farm service gave us a bid on that work, and they said that they would like to be considered
Okay, we'll
for
send out
bids for the gas, so.
where we're at. And I think they had in the past got prices from Blue Flame too, so,
Yeah.
all right. Anything else, Scott?
That was it.
Okay, Kevin?
I had a meeting with the other CEOs from Mississippi Valley Work Zone, and they did okay the merger between us and South Central and
I know there was a big question about that, whether or not it's gonna go through or not.
yeah, and they said that they imagined northeast section will go in. do the word.
So we're kind of in the whole eastern side. That's
Except for a little patch or on Lynn Johnson County.
That's okay.
Yeah. So they're not wanting to join in yet, so.
Right.
That's key.
And it,
Yeah.
a lot of little things, but, I think the big thing, we had our meeting yesterday at conservation down at, Snively's. Pretty much business as usual. Summer rec's starting to wind down and school's gonna be starting here pretty soon, so. They were real happy with their attendance and their turnouts this year. They were tickled with that. We got the new gal starting, end of August. Paperwork's here on that. Jacob, anything to add? No?
No.
Okay. That's really all I had. Public input.
Yeah, I'm here for that. Although this says for items on next week's agenda, I'm not coming back next week. This is info only, non-voting. The federal government has lifted the expenditure of funds for the historic preservation. Remember, I came a few weeks ago. It's never ending, right? But we are released to go ahead and move forward with the inventory of the buildings in Wapello and Columbus Junction. So that will start happening. That starts rolling along, and I'll inform you how that happened. On another note, not a federal grant, but you as the Historic Preservation Commission for the county sort of oversees all the other stuff that happens. And we did get a Hart Family Fund grant to do a building assessment, an actual engineering survey on the Mellinger Memorial Library. We just got that announcement, so that's exciting. So that's about $9,000. The city's putting in some money too, so we'll have an assessment done on that building. And you'll notice this is not historic preservation. This is that other thing I've been working on at the fairgrounds. If you drive that way, you'll see that things are coming down at the fairgrounds. The old buildings are coming down, and in the next week, I think demolition will be done within a few weeks, and we're starting to work on construction. And the committee hired a local contractor and he deals with local subsidies. It's Buster, Will Buster. So that's happening, in case you get any questions about, what the heck at the fairgrounds. Remember, we've been here a few times to talk about that, so I hope that's not a
It
surprise.
looks like Lake Columbus there. But
Yeah, well,
They're gonna rain.
I was gonna ask if.
yeah, it's a foot
Or-
up,
That's fine
it's
then. Then it is now.
I think
a
everybody.
good bit higher than it is now. Yeah, a lot higher, but 9 inches in a couple of weeks coming down that hill. It's not the river.
Doesn't mean
not
it's
this time.
happening again, but if you're gonna put that much money in, we might as well bring a little dirt in.
Yeah, it's coming up. Yep.
Good.
That's all. I just wanted you to be informed of things moving along. Any questions about those things?
Brian?
I have a question.
Oh, sure.
You might want to get a floodplain permit for that, because that is considered in the floodplain. And in order to build in the floodplain, you gotta have a permit, and you're gonna have to show me. The surveyor will come in and show the site elevation for the 100-year floodplain. And naturally, I wouldn't allow a home or nothing to be built there, but as far as livestock barns and stuff like that. We have to have access for water to come in and come out every 4 foot on the sidewalls of the building all the way around.
Okay.
Cause he's been that and gotten any permits as far as building permits on it either.
It's ag land, so
Which-
Ed does, and the city of Columbus Junction gave us a building permit application, so.
So it's in the city limits, so then I really don't have anything to do with it.
Okay, good.
That solves an awful lot. I got an email from Terry Jones this morning, which is head of the DNR, which asked me about it, and I was like, well, I don't know, I haven't received anything, but now that I know it's in the city limits.
But yeah, let's,
Is the
so
racetrack ag land too?
say that again.
The racetrack, is that ag land too?
It's on land that is zoned ag. Yes, the racetrack is on land that's zoned ag. I'm not dealing with the racetrack, I know. Wow, that's a whole nother ballgame or race game. Let me check on let me We do have a building permit from the city, but
Yeah.
I'll check on those things too. Okay,
Sounds good.
anything else?
No.
Okay. Great.
Anybody else for, public input before I move along?
Yeah, you guys, I think, received an email yesterday, or no, it's on Sunday, actually.
Yeah,
I did give her a call back, heard her out, listened to what she had to say, and I think we mended it the best we could. There wasn't really anything other than a little bit more rock on our camp pads,
Yeah.
and I think they had a close call incident, allegedly, that the camper, sloughed just a little bit, and so then everything from that point on was high strung, and so, but everybody was safe, nothing major broke, and I went and looked at the damage to the site, and there's barely a scuff. So it must have just been a little bit moist after the rains and sunk.
I was just talking to the guys about, they saw an attachment that hooks up to the skid steer that goes through gravel and kind of brings the gravel back up.
Oh, heck
lifts it
yeah.
Back up, it takes all the weeds out, you just saw the line. And, I don't think the camp pads need more gravel, it
No,
just needs to be groomed.
yeah,
for lack of a better
spray
word.
is a lot of it.
So, maybe we can look into that and,
I didn't know that existed. That's
yeah,
pretty cool.
it's pretty cool.
We've been trying to box blade them and trying to crown them up. It just doesn't work. It's
I'm not gonna
tough.
say it's a rotor tiller, but kind of that thought.
Yeah.
And it takes about that much of the gravel and just takes all the weeds out and
Nice.
you use that in a lot of places.
Oh, what now?
Power
Power rake.
rig, yeah.
Rake, power rake.
So look into that.
Yeah.
I think that might be a.
Yeah, get some of the silt out of it and just make it a hard pack rock again.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not blessed as the secondary roads equipment is, but.
I mean, about the time it takes you to spray for the weeds, you could have this attachment, have the. That's done.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's good to know.
I think she did kind of complain about the road a little bit and
Yeah.
it's like, well, we can't widen the road to make it passable
No,
with two campers, eh? You're just gonna, if you go into Snipes, you're gonna roll the window down and listen for somebody coming down the hill.
sure.
It's
And
hard.
how you saw it on Monday is how it looked Friday afternoon. So it was the best I've ever seen it after 9 inches of rain
Oh,
in
yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah, I drove out there Sunday, I thought, for what we went through, I thought it looked okay, so.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you guys grade that or?
yeah, we got a 5-foot, two-way blade
Yeah.
on a tractor, so. For what we got, I thought it was gorgeous. I was-
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it a lot worse. so.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're right, she had a bad problem and
Yeah,
everything then there was nothing good, everything was bad.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah.
But.
but it's smoothed over, I think, as
yeah,
best as I
we
can tell, and
Listen and talk to her and.
Yeah.
Listen to the complaints, even though it's difficult sometimes to listen to that.
all right.
Great, thank you.
Yep, that's all I got.
Anyone else?
I can go next here.
Sure.
My name's Todd Valentino. I am a developer with Ranger Power. I know there's been some conversations about the solar project. We're working on one southwest of Letts, north of 160, south of 180. Really just here to answer questions. I'm gonna start coming to these meetings, I think, every week, just to make sure that there aren't any outstanding questions that you guys are getting that we can help answer. But yeah, happy to provide more information on the project. Just a little bit about our company. I'm based out of Chicago. I've done a lot of work in various states across the Midwest, but recently a lot of work in Iowa. And Claire Foley's also on my team working on the project here. She's been having a lot of conversations with Scott and other folks. I recently had some conversations with the folks at the ZA's office. And of course, we'll continue those conversations. And in terms of timeline for coming to you guys and the zoning board and all those folks to kind of coordinate on some of these issues and conversations, probably early next year is when we have something more formal. So what I typically like to do is start coming to these meetings early enough to where we can answer questions until we have a formal proposal. One of the things that's been talked about is the CSR rating conversation, especially in the area that we're looking at for our project. I think what we're planning to do is go to the planning and zoning board with a proposal essentially that details how we plan to protect and kind of advance that CSR2 rating over the life of the project. And leave it up to them and to you guys to decide if that's a use that's acceptable. And I think talked with Brucey Bryan at the ZA's office, we'll continue to have those conversations. Things like pollinator habitat, sheep grazing, multiple uses, apiaries, things like that, to try and make sure that everyone feels comfortable with the fact that it will be a temporary use that does not impact the long-term viability of the ground, similar to a housing development or something that would take out a commission forever. So my spiel there, but I'll give out my contact information and I'll be available anytime. I'll start coming to these meetings weekly, and you guys can, if you get questions on the project, you can forward them to me or Claire. We're out here every week and can answer questions and meet with folks. So
I have some questions.
yeah, I'll give it a shot.
How many acres are we talking about?
So it's interesting because we're not real, what we have right now are applications to connect into the grid. And the initial project we're looking at is 200 megawatts. We typically like to say it'll end up being around 5 acres per megawatt. We have, so I'll start there, but it just depends on interest rates. So we're reaching out to folks and we've gotten a lot of interest in the area. A lot of folks that are interested in participating
So do the math.
on total.
500 megawatt.
No, no, no,
200.
200 megawatt.
5 acres, 1,000 acres.
10,000. So, but here's my point. It depends on interest, right? So if we're gonna try to do as big of a project as we can with the folks that are interested. So
How did you, or you're not you, and you happen to be the person sitting here, so
Yeah.
you're the one that's gonna get it.
Yeah.
How did your company decide that Louisa County was the prime spot? What was the deciding factor to here rather than Des Moines?
Yeah.
Or Muscatine or Illinois, wherever? Why right here?
there's a couple of main reasons. One is that 345 kilovolt line that's near 180th. And that has what we call capacity to take power into that transmission line. And that's really important. We wouldn't be able to have a project without that. And so one of the concerns I think that's been raised is, well, the whole county can't be a solar project.
That's where I'm going.
And the answer that I would have is that's right. And that's because of, not because, we wouldn't want it to be, right? It's because there's only enough transmission in certain areas. So you can't put a project like the one we're working on just anywhere. It has to be adjacent to a substation or high voltage transmission lines. So that's the main reason. And then
I get that. But the problem that I'm beginning to have as a supervisor is we've got we thought was a large one outside of town here, which now is turns out to be a splice back compared to what's gonna happen. Was it 5,000 or 7,000 acres?
4,500 in the Louisa County,
Okay.
and then another 1,000 or.
And then now we're talking another 10,000, so.
Or another 1,000,
it-
so.
it
We'll,
just,
we'll give you guys the updates, but.
It seems like all of a sudden, we're getting a tidal wave of solar panels, and I am the one that made the comment, it was in the paper last week, was. I don't wanna see my county and an entire solar panel,
Mhm.
and I'm not against solar. I mean, I'm the one that helped push for the county itself to get solar to help. But we placed them in places, on top of roofs and made parking structures out of them, we didn't. Take, a big chunk out of our county to put up a big solar panel. So
Well, I would add,
I got some, starting to get some mixed feelings about this, so.
well, and I would add that there's not a lot of jobs that come with it, if you're doing this and it was gonna be a factory or a nuclear power plant or something that had a lot of long-term
Yes,
jobs.
some small maintenance jobs.
But there's not really a lot of jobs for
Yeah.
these things.
I mean, I would say that there's a couple things that I I think about that, I think are important as part of the conversation. One is, I mean, there's of course property rights aspect to it. With the folks that we're working, it's all voluntary agreements, so we're not a utility coming in and using eminent domain or anything like that. But also, I think one of the things that we hear often is, okay, like that point, right? It's not consistent long-term jobs, right? You have a few hundred jobs during the construction period, and then kind of what's the benefit? My response to that would be tax revenue. And then also, a lot of folks have a misconception about the use of the land itself. It's not, there's not concrete under the steel post, so it is a temporary use of the land that most landowners we're working with are using to diversify their income. Rather than putting all of their land in the project, they put some of their land, we try to get it contiguous. And then it's a temporary use they're able to pass down through most of its lease agreements, right?
For 30 years.
Right.
I mean, some people that's nearly half a lifetime, so. You know,
It's, I think,
temporary use in the grand scheme of the world or the.
yeah, I get that. I think, so what we want to do is a project that works for folks. So I think we're open to feedback. I think there's, from what I've heard about previous projects and things that have gone on, maybe there haven't been as much transparency as folks have liked or questions answered. I think we want to change that with this project, make sure that we're being collaborative.
I think it would be different too if all the solar that was within the county was actually being used by the county, and the people in the county actually saw some reduction in their power. But none of our bills have gone down, they go up.
That's
So, you know, yes, the landowners themselves are getting revenue. I can't begrudge them for that. Yeah, they're getting money. If I own 500 acres, that might be great for me too, but our job here is to look out for the entire county, not just that particular
Totally.
landowner, so.
And I think just a quick point, this may not be super helpful, but I found, learned a little bit more about it recently and found it interesting is that and I'm from Michigan and it's the same there, where utility bills have never gone down. They're always going up, and our cost of infrastructure repairs on all of our transmission lines are going up. And what solar projects and wind projects do isn't trying to lower people's bills. It's trying to make them go up by a smaller amount. So they're a cheaper form of energy. So that increase in your bill's always going to go up. It's just how much is it going to go up by? So the reason why we're doing this project is because it's a competitive form of energy in terms of the price of it, more competitive than natural gas or coal, and those will make the utility bills increase by a large amount. Now, to your point on the energy's not going directly to the county, I can't sit here and tell you it's going to power, so-and-so's house down the street. We can think about creative ways to benefit folks directly in the county. Some things that we've thought about on other projects as well are doing sort of programs for electric bills and things like that, so that there is that direct benefit beyond the tax revenue, beyond some of the other things we're working on. So.
Yeah, those are things that I think I would like to talk about, at least put them on the table and discuss. We just got a big report on how America's putting a lot of cost in wind and solar, and then they're rolling back the coal plants, which again, that's gonna cut a bunch of jobs, so. You know, how do you feel about that?
It's tough, and it's change, right? There's a lot of change happening right now, and so I get the.
Yeah.
I get the.
I'm not looking for an answer, it's more of a statement than a question, so.
Yeah.
And just something that I think that the board here needs to put some quiet thought into and try to figure out what's best for the county. So,
Yeah,
that's my 2 cents.
well, I appreciate.
We welcome you here. It's great. It's nice to at least see someone here that in the past, we haven't had any of that. We just kind of get shoved down your throat and
Right.
no face to the comments. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll be present and available. Hopefully much more so than maybe folks you've worked with in the past.
We have gotten some emails in the past, not too recent. Some of them not very happy about solar,
Okay.
definitely not happy about wind. So don't even
Yeah.
approach us. with
We're not working on wind.
We're gonna have a fist fight probably over that. But you'll probably see some citizens here that aren't very happy about the solar part, so, just let you know.
Okay, and I feel like I've been talking your ear off, I don't wanna talk your ear off, but, if there are folks that reach out and that do wanna talk to us, what we do anyway before we ever submit an application is we'll knock on every door around our project and talk to folks if they wanna talk to us. A lot of times there's misconceptions, but if we can go to their house and say, and walk out however, many feet the setback is, or show them exactly where it is and what it's gonna look like, that usually changes folks' opinions on it.
Yeah.
So you can feel free to give folks our contact and we can do that.
I have one other question, and that is if the heavy government subsidy starts to diminish for this,
Mhm.
how does that affect these projects? I mean, how does that? Because I know they're operating, I don't know, about everyone, most of them are operating pretty heavily on government subsidy to get these projects in.
Yeah, so
Is that gonna have any effect on after they're in, as far as maintaining and keeping the operations the way they should be? I mean, I don't know.
no, it won't impact any that are built within the timeline of, the big beautiful bill says if you start construction within a year after its passage, so July 4th, 26, then you can receive some portion of that tax credit for a solar project, right? What we've done a lot of looking into it, and I think there's a couple big reasons why we think these projects are still very viable, even without the tax credit. One is we can build the projects faster than you can build new coal, gas, or nuclear plants, and we need new energy right now, more than we've ever needed it before. If you want to buy a new a turbine for a gas plant right now, one, you can't get it from the US. Two, you can't get it within 5 years. So it's just out of the money in terms of timeline. So we think that when we go in to try and sell the power from this project, we're gonna be able to sell it the fastest because we can build it the fastest. And sell it for cheaper because of the backlog on some of these new uses. And I think however you view it in terms of the tax credit, what we think will happen is we'll still be competitive. It'll just, that cost will carry over to consumers a little bit more. Now, of course, we'll see, right, in the next couple of years. But we still feel good about the business model without it as of right now.
Anything else?
Mhm.
Anybody else?
You plan on selling it once it's completed?
So the way our company does things is, we're Ranger Power, and then we have what we would call a sister company that we have a joint agreement with called Desri. And they are one of the larger owner operators of projects in the US. We get the project to construction, so we get the permits and all of that, and then we hand it to them because they're the experts in construction. So that's the typical structure that we work with. So you could consider it from our position as, we're transferring it to them, but they typically keep ownership. The other option would be we sell it to a utility, Mid-American or whoever. That's less likely to be the option. It is sometimes the outcome where Mid-American says, we want that power, but we'd like to purchase the entire project and the asset. Um, so it's kind of a non-answer to your question. It could be sold. It's less likely to be that case.
Is there any studies out there that shows, on health effects, environmental effects, or anything that, solar power does? Do it?
Are you thinking of the panels themselves and kind of,
Well, and this is a long-term probably to use, but like radiation or anything it emits or to the environment or.
yeah, so there's been a lot, this is a big question that we've gotten. We've done soil testing, water runoff testing from panels. There's been a lot of independent studies on any potential negative impacts, and there hasn't been any that have been found. I think the concern that most folks have are whether the components of the panels are toxic, and if the panel breaks, can that leach? And I think there's been a ton of studies on that show that, one, the panels that they're making these days, there's no toxic components. That was an issue 10 years ago and back. And two, even the ones that do have cadmium telluride or other things that people are concerned about, even if those do shatter, they can't leach into the soil. So the short answer is we haven't found anything. And one of the ways that we kind of make that promise is offering to do certain things retroactively to make sure everyone's comfortable.
I know one thing that it does do. It does absorb a considerable amount of heat, and it does create a thermal above solar field. I've flown over them in my airplane, and when you fly over a solar panel, it's very similar to a large asphalt parking lot. The plane will bump up. So you are getting that heat absorption. If you fly over the river, you'll sink because it's cooler. So there is, and I don't know what that does to the environment, but there is something that it does do. And I don't know that it affects anything other than that, but it does create.
Yeah. I guess, I'm not sure what type of plane you're flying and the altitude.
A small 4-passenger.
Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't heard that before.
You fly, if I flew over the one out here outside of town.
And it's the same way you fly over town, you're gonna get that. Yeah,
Go up
interesting.
100 feet.
Yeah, so I haven't heard that, and it kind of, I think it would depend on the type of panel you're using, because these days the panels are so razor thin that even if that panel holds heat, it's not thick enough for it to be measurable. But obviously, if you've had personal experience with that.
It's interesting what it does.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know that that's. Other than you're reflecting heat back up into the atmosphere. But again, it's a lot like a blacktop parking lot. You fly over a Walmart parking lot, you'll get that same feel.
Yeah, we haven't seen, again, from what I'm.
No, it's just conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else? We'll move along. No,
Sorry to take up.
no,
much
that's
time.
okay. It's good interesting information. We'll look forward to seeing you next week's. Payroll changes, there was some, basically it's mostly conservation. The new gal coming on and the
Two summer help.
two summer helps or something that's really all that was. Adam, you're on deck here.
How's it going today, guys?
Good.
Great, so the solar panel guy showed up.
It's a surprise how many times I hear that.
Got our dump truck in that we had ordered last year it came in on Friday,
So then
so.
we saw the bill.
Thank
Thank you.
Yeah, so, but it's all within, but.
Yeah, no,
So it's fine, so. So that, all of our equipment is done for the year, we've got to get a few more attachments for the skid loader and things like that, so. The concrete work on the salt shed is done, so it'll be done and paid out, so. Doing good on that. Gonna get the hoop in, I think in September, so. But progress there. I'm making some calls, about salt, getting that filled up. We used to get it out of a place out of Burlington and they closed down. Last year, we got it out of Cedar Rapids and they did okay, but we're looking at other options as well on that, so. Crews are out doing, rock shoulders, on the K road today. Fortunately, we were driving and we hit a power line with our dump truck. So that's what I'm dealing with that today. Other guys are out blading and things like that.
Did we have a, container car we were gonna do here sometime soon?
Container car, yes, that's actually next week's
Okay.
project, so, no. So the plan is to get that done, next week, and then we're gonna do ditching for another week, and then we'll probably start on concrete patch in end of August or beginning of September, so we're working on that. I will probably hire a contractor to help us out on some of them. I had a pretty high budgetary number on patching this year, because it's kind of getting a little bit, ahead of us, so. There's some patches that we can do ourselves that aren't too hard, but if it gets over a certain length, it's better to have a professional do it. So working on that, did hear some, on the Highway 92 project, and it's a little bit delayed. They don't have a firm date yet, but probably looking end of October or November on that, which.
You wanna see my surprised face? Knew that.
There it is, so. Other than that, have a meeting with the DOT next week with the drainage districts to kind of work on some things there, so. Just kind of a little bit of oddball things here and there, so. Next week, I'm planning to have my annual report here, that it shows our expenses and everything for the year. We did pretty well in terms of spending, so we'll have some good news there. Other than that, I do have an agenda item.
Yeah, I'm reading that right now.
Looking at speeds, out on the west side of Rockwell. The current situation, it goes from 55, 45, and then in town, there's really not much of a speed limit there. So I'm looking to, push the speed drop a little bit to the west. Out west of Orion's, I'd like to drop it down to 45, and then at Beer Can Alley, essentially drop it down to 35. And then once it gets into town, it would be 25. So, I've had some requests in the past. I hadn't gotten around to it, but I'm getting a lot more requests now. We've got a small business on the north side, and then we got the new small business on the south side. You know, just getting to be a lot more parking out there and traffic and all that, so.
I'll be surprised. We don't have an accident on Saturday mornings or.
Yeah, so,
At some point.
this request actually came from the person across the road, because
Yeah.
there's kids out there now and business opportunities and all that, so.
K Avenue can be a bit of a problem too still.
There's
I
kind of
still
a blind
have
spot
I
there.
still have to roll my window down and listen, because people come into
Fast.
town pretty hard.
Fast, yeah.
Well, and I mean, that's so blind there, you
Yeah.
gotta ease out,
If I'm driving something slow, like a grain truck, boy,
Yeah. So once we know what the DOT is gonna do out there, right? I've been mentioning that we're gonna have to do something on our portion of the 5 mile lane. So maybe get that taken care of at that time, but.
Would it go to 35 then from the highway in?
Well, I would assume so, so,
If the city annexes it, then it'd go to 25 'cause it's
Yeah.
in town.
yeah. So. All things that could happen, we just gotta know what's gonna happen.
You're
after that.
proposing to do this now.
Yeah, now, so. Cause you know, that road is three to infinite years away.
I think it's a good idea. It's not.
Yeah, most people aren't slowing down until,
And I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a period when Highway 61, when it's up 4 lanes from here south. So there's gonna be traffic through as well.
Everybody's gonna be coming in off the 5 mile lane and exiting south to get out of town.
Exiting north
To
to,
north, I mean, you
Yeah.
gotta get out of town.
Yeah, so-
It's gonna be-
well, if we make this change, we'll get with Brandon and have him get that speed trailer set out there for a while.
Yeah.
Warning people, and then unfortunately, they're probably gonna go out to whack a few people,
yeah.
cause they're not gonna slow down.
So I wanted to,
I'll be honest with you, I'm just about as guilty, cause I come in.
Oh, yeah,
pretty
yeah.
quick too,
yeah.
and,
Well, I always would.
yeah.
So, I will bring you a resolution here soon. I just wanted to bring it up, open for discussion and get any input if anybody has any on it, so.
I think it's something we probably should do, yeah. Yeah. Guys good?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
Could you bring us up to date on the rock quarry?
Yeah, so, actually talked, the River Products Quarry on the White Way, right? So we haul 70,000 tons of rock every year. About 55 to 60 of it comes from that quarry. During the high water events a few weeks ago, they had basically there was a hole. And the creek got into the mine. So the mine itself is flooded and a bunch of the above ground is and was flooded as well. I talked to the CEO of the company, said, well, we got about 40 or 50,000 tons above ground, but everything below ground is off for a while. I asked him, when do you think you're gonna be able to get back in there? He's optimistic it'll be next spring. So we, over the remainder of this year, we've got 50 or 60,000 tons to haul, and they've only got 40,000 available. Plus you've also got other users and all that. So I have reached out to our other quarries, options here. So it's not good, but he did say that they intend to get it back open and continue to operate a quarry in the county. Which is good for us, because I did look at other hauling options, and most of the other ones, whether it's to the east and into the south and west are okay, but getting rock up to Lead's going to be an issue, because closest quarry from there is 32 miles or something like that. So that means one trip per hour at the best, right? And if that quarry were to not open, we would probably have to look at contract hauling or trucking and things like that, which gets a lot more expensive. So, it's not good, but we'll plan ahead, I guess. So.
Have they got any equipment out yet?
My understanding is all the mining, all the trucks and all that were taken out before it failed. But there are scales and lighting and all those other things too, so assume they're gonna pump it out, and well, they have to get the hole plugged first. And then pump it out, and then see what's going on there.
Big a hole we talking.
I don't know. Big enough, Long Creek could fill it up, so.
Throw some rock in.
Well, not quite sure that's gonna get it fixed. So, yeah, so we're, aware of it, making plans and all that, but
We do have an awfully high water table around here, so
Yeah.
you dig down deep enough, long enough, you're gonna eventually
Yeah.
hit water. I don't know why that should be too much of a surprise.
so I actually drove over the bridge there to the west of it. Probably as it was happening, this looks a little bit weird. I couldn't tell exactly what was going on, but the water wasn't going down the creek, it was going into mine, so.
You know, I'm glad nobody got hurt, you know.
Yeah, so there's all these oddballs that just happen, you know. It's fun, so.
Okay, moving right along.
I have one question.
Sure, go ahead.
So when are you thinking on taking that, train viaduct out up there in the northern part there?
That would be over the winter.
Over the winter?
Yeah, probably. You know, we're really not supposed to cut trees until after October
Yeah,
the 31st or so we probably look in November, December, something like that. So I do have a quote from a contractor about 60,000 to do all the dirt work and the demolition, and we would do the hauling away, I guess, is what I would say, so. And that dirt would go to the neighbor, and a bunch of it would go up onto some dirt roads of ours, so. So that would be kind of our thing we can do, as long as it's not snowing.
yeah. Sounds good.
Last year we did a bunch of tree work. So we're thinking this can be our thing for the year, so.
Okay.
Let's hope we don't have a wet winter like we had a wet.
Well,
You bad.
yeah. So,
Okay,
all right, thanks.
move on.
Yep.
Okay, well, item number 10 is our public hearing on our solar ordinance. I'd look for a motion to open a public hearing.
I'll make the motion to open public hearing.
I'll second.
Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
In a public hearing, any public input?
No.
Okay, anybody in our audience with public input? Okay, with that being said, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing with the motion.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, we're on to number 11, which is the third and final reading of the revisions to our solar ordinance. I look for a motion for approval.
So moved. I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Richard John. Heard again. Wastewater annual permit fee. ENR for the law enforcement center. I did have a question on that, Brian. This is for our septic system out there. Is that right? Yeah. We do this every year?
I don't know exactly without talking to Bruce on. I know how we do our ponds and stuff. I mean, it's weekly, it's monthly, your MORs, your monthly reports, and I know none of that's been being done. They're supposed to show a discharge on when they're discharging. Because there's only certain times of the year that you can do that. And I don't know that that's being done, but I mean, I'm mowing around the ponds all the time. I don't see them coming up. I don't see them going down either, though.
Wastewater permit fee, so basically we're getting some money out of it's $340. For fiscal year 26, from July 1st of 25 to June 30th of 26, so
It's been on the agenda yearly, so.
it's every year.
I looked it up and sent it to you about it, as far as who was taking care of it in the
Did you see
past.
this online or did you?
Yeah.
I'm not for sure that you have anybody right now. that I know of. I mean, Kent does it all for us. As far as all the different counties and the cities that we run.
Well, we'll at least get our permit paid for it. We don't got to holler at about that. I'd look for a motion to approve, our wastewater DNR permit.
I'll make a motion to approve the wastewater permit.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
It's all signed too.
Great. Did we get did I give you the claims?
Yes.
Okay. All right, approval and sign our Midwest Benefit Group Administrative Services Medical Side Fund.
That's just, they're collecting $6.75 per employee per month to manage
Administer the.
it, yeah.
That's a lot of legal paper.
What's that total?
I don't know the grand total, it changes monthly for the name of the employees and stuff, so.
Is this a monthly fee paid
Yes.
by the county or the employee?
It's paid by the county.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we want our health insurance, I think, for the county employees, so.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to
And the supervisors.
approve and sign Midwest.
Sorry. I'm hollering at the gallery.
Careful.
That the hecklers?
Yeah,
Yeah.
careful, careful.
Approve and sign. I'll approve the signing of the Midwest Group Benefit Analysis.
All right,
I'll second.
second, discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, we signed it. We got person in. Ooh, that pen's running out. That's your new pen. I got it though.
It was hanging in your door, I think.
Okay, the last item is adjournment. Anybody wanna address the board before we're done?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.